This is 4K! What's up everybody, I'm Ken and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel. Today I've got another 4K review of 300. This was put out by Warner Brothers and this is directed by Zack Snyder. So this release actually came out back in November, so I'm a little bit late to the party on this, but I bought it last week on one of my Blu-ray hunts and I thought I would go ahead and give it a watch. You know, we do have a Zack Snyder movie coming out this weekend, Army of the Dead, on Netflix, so it's kind of in line, it kind of relates. So yeah, I gave 300 a rewatch, and for the first time in probably 10 years, I probably have not seen this movie since 2010, 2011 was the last time that I watched it. So before we get into just my thoughts on the movie and the overall picture quality, the audio quality, the special features, the packaging, all that good stuff that we cover here in these reviews, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more great content. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of physical media. I do weekly Blu-ray 4K updates where I update you guys on stuff that's coming out in the coming months, what's coming out this week. And I also do Blu-ray hunts every single week where I take you all into the stores with me. I do Dollar General hunts. I do Big Lots hunts, just all kinds of vlog videos and then reviews of 4Ks and Blu-rays as well. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you want some more awesome physical media based content. So also be sure to hit that like button. I would definitely appreciate that. And comment down below your thoughts on the film 300 just as a movie. What are your thoughts on this 4K release? All of that stuff, just start up a conversation in that comment section below. I always like discussing these movies and physical media releases with you guys. So just getting into this movie, guys, this of course is directed by Zack Snyder, starring Gerard Butler and Lena Headey, based on the graphic novel by Frank Miller. And at this point, this was, I think, the second graphic novel adaptation of his that came out. We had Sin City in 2005 and then we had 300 in 2007. So this style, the Frank Miller adaptations were kind of popping at this point in time. And what this movie basically is, it depicts the Titanic clash in which King Leonidas and 300 Spartans fought to the death against the Persian army. So like I said in the opening, guys, I have not seen this movie probably since DVD. So it's probably about 2009, 2010 since I've last seen this movie. It's been a while, and I always remember it being among my favorite Zack Snyder movies. I don't love all of his film. I love Dawn of the Dead. This one would probably rank somewhere in my top 3, I would say, because I do like Man of Steel quite a bit. So I probably would put this in my top 3, especially now after rewatching it, which, going into my thoughts on the movie, I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed my rewatch. Of course, this movie has great style. It's visually stunning. That's kind of what it's known for. And it really is the reason why I believe that Zack Snyder is the household name that he is now, was because of this movie. Because before this, he had done Dawn of the Dead, but that was more of a horror niche fan base for that movie. And I don't think it really popped him in the zeitgeist of pop culture like this movie did, especially considering that it's just one of the more quotable movies of that era. You know, it spawned all kinds of spoofs and spoof moments and stuff like that. People just running around quoting this movie all the time. I remember it was just a huge movie, and this is the moment where I think that Zack Snyder just really became that name in the industry that would allow him to do, you know, the DC films and stuff like that. He just had that level of cachet after this film. And like I said, I think it's a good movie. There's a really great performance in this movie by Gerard Butler. It's one of his first big performances in a movie. This, I think, was the first time I remember seeing him in a film, at least in a leading role, and he's great in this. He's commanding. He has great charisma. He's just a very strong character that you can identify with through his acts of heroism within the film. And like I said, this is just a very quotable movie. All kinds of iconic lines. Our arrows will blot out the sun. This is Sparta. Spartans prepare for glory. Tonight we dine in hell. There's just so many iconic lines in this movie that have just transcended time and still remained very relevant today. And then, of course, you have Lena Headey in this movie, who gives a very strong female performance. Of course, she's no stranger to that. Game of Thrones, she's incredible and her lead performance in that show. But in this came out, I think, 4 years before Game of Thrones started. So you can really kind of see this performance as kind of a precursor to her role of Cersei Lannister. Just a very strong queen role in this movie, and I thought she was awesome. There's actually a moment in this movie that I did not remember. When it happened, I was like, holy shit, that is badass that they allowed her to do this in this movie. And yeah, it's a great performance. I think she's fantastic in it. She's not in it a ton, but the moments that she has, I think, are very strong. As far as the story and the writing, like, there's not a ton there. Like I said, there's some really quotable lines, but the actual writing isn't as strong. You know, the story is very basic. It's basically just a group of 300 people going out to stop the Persian army from taking over Sparta. And there's a lot of war sequences, a lot of hyper stylized action sequences. But like I said, the story is very basic. There's not a lot to dig into there. And I don't think this is a movie that should be heavily criticized on its lack of story, because that's not really what it is. I think that the characters and the moments in this movie are cool and badass enough to make it all work. But there are some surprisingly heartfelt moments in this movie that I was not expecting. The dad that lost his son in the battle, sorry for spoiling, I'm not really giving specifics here, but he gives a speech to Leonidas how you know, he wished he would have talked to his son more. He wished he would have told him that he loved him, how much he meant to him. All that stuff like really hit me in a surprising way when I was watching it. I'm like, am I really kind of getting choked up watching a Zack Snyder movie? I didn't understand it, but it's a really great moment. And yeah, you have a few of those moments within this movie that I think add a lot of heart. So yeah, guys, as a movie, I'd say I really enjoyed this movie. I haven't seen it in a while. It's a little bit shy of 2 hours, but it moves at a good pace. A lot of great action in this film, and yeah, I think it flows very nicely. As a movie, I would probably give this a 4 out of 5. Like, I think it's a very solid Zack Snyder film, and there's a reason why this movie made him as popular as he is now, and why people are now demanding a Snyderverse and hashtag release the Snyder Cut. All of this stuff you're happening right now, all of his fans and the fan base surrounding it all stems from the love that was created with this film, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's a good movie. So I give it a 4 out of 5 because I really did enjoy it. Now, getting into the packaging, guys, so you know, I'm gonna cut to an unboxing and show you guys, but it's a really nice slipcover on this one. Some really nice artwork. I love the colors used, the gold and the 300 that's kind of like blood red right there stained on the shield, but it's kind of got a little bit of metallic shine to it, which is really cool. I love how they use the colors on the slipcover as well. So I really love this slipcover, and Warner Brothers generally does a really good job on their slipcovers and packaging. So right here, guys, just the same right there, and then you open it up and you do have a little bit of the disc artwork on the Blu-ray, but not on the 4K itself. So I'd say overall the packaging, it's pretty basic, but I do like I said, that gold on it. Now, getting into the visuals, guys, like the style of this movie, just the visual style of this movie, this is a film that is set up to achieve excellence in 4K, and I believe that it just about gets there. I think it looks amazing, but we'll get into some of the details here in a second, and I'll show some screenshots that I took of my TV comparing the 4K to the Blu-ray. So one thing right off the top, guys, this film was shot on 35mm, which was a stylistic decision by Zack Snyder, which of course makes this film extremely grainy, and you can very much tell that when you are watching this in 4K. And there are some sequences that aren't as grainy that, again, we'll talk about here in a second. But for the most part, you can notice the grain, some heavy amounts of grain, especially in some of those daytime shots. So to me, I don't really mind film grain all that much. Like, yes, it doesn't look as crystal clear, but I notice when I watch a lot of the older films, the classic films, like Jaws, like Tremors that I just watched, which is excellent transfer, the grain doesn't really take away from me as long as you can allow yourself to kind of step back and see what is around it, and not just focus on the grain itself. And yeah, because this was a stylistic choice by Zack Snyder and it doesn't feel like it's anything they could really control when doing this, I'm not really going to knock it for that. Now, this film is in HDR. It does have high dynamic range, and the colors are very vibrant, especially with the golds and the reds. You really notice the red capes and then the golds with the shields and just the contrast of the two. There's not a ton of colors in this movie. It's really just like gold and red, and then some of the sun-bathed like aesthetic of just them kind of. Most of this movie feels like it takes place either on the sunrise or the sunset, just the way it's all presented. And then you have some night sequences which look amazing. The black levels look amazing, especially in some of those night battle sequences, which I thought just looked spectacular. So like I said, as long as you don't mind some grain, this is a very good transfer. I think that this is a very strong, solid transfer. So getting into the audio, guys, this isn't Atmos. So for Atmos fans, I know the past couple of reviews I didn't have Atmos. This is in full Dolby Atmos. Of course, I'm not watching it on Atmos. I do not have those capabilities. I do have a sound bar though that I experienced this as. So from my perspective, the sound was very good, especially in particular, the one that I noticed the most was when they shot those arrows and you see them all coming at them. You really can tell, you can just feel like the wind as the arrows move through the air, and it's just a really solid sound structure in that scene and moment. And yeah, that carries throughout most of this movie. And as for the special features, guys, and it continues to be a sore spot for me because there's nothing new in this release. Every single special feature is on the Blu-ray release, and all the special features are on the Blu-ray disc of this movie. They're not on the 4K. I think maybe the 4K has the audio commentary, but that's about it. So yeah, nothing new. They're all on the Blu-rays. Again, I wish we could get at least something with. I know that the selling point is you're getting it in 4K. I get that, but I wish we could just get something new. Because the Blu-ray came out 13 years ago. So we need something new, some kind of a new special feature. An interview with Gerard Butler, Zack Snyder, he can't stop for 5 minutes and do some kind of video interview talking about a retrospective look at 300 from 14 years ago. You're telling me Zack Snyder doesn't have time for that? I don't buy it. Just give me something new and put it on the 4K. That's all I'm asking for. But you know, I'm not going to knock it too hard for the lack of special features because it does have special features on there. If this is your first time buying it, if you don't own the Blu-ray, there are special features there. They're just extremely dated special features, and I would just like something new. So overall, guys, as a recommendation for this, like I said, I bought this on sale last week for $17.99. I believe it is still that price. So I would absolutely recommend that you buy it right now because the sale is good. And I don't see it getting much better. It'll probably get down to $10 come Black Friday, so you could wait for that. But I think this is a really good transfer. This is a really good movie, and I recommend that you buy it right now because it's awesome, and you need it. And you need to have it in your collection. So that does it for my review of 300, a 4K release from Warner Brothers. Again, guys, I would appreciate it if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel to hit that subscribe button. Also, like this video and comment down below your thoughts on 300 and the 4K transfer. And also turn on those bell notifications for future videos. And I'll see you next time.